My name is Gregory, and what I'm about to tell you happened last December. I was home alone for a week while my girlfriend visited her parents for the holidays. I stayed behind for work. My house is in a quiet neighborhood in upstate New York, where the houses are far apart. Most of my neighbors go away for Christmas, so it's usually very peaceful. At first, I was looking forward to the quiet. I planned to get some rest, watch some shows, and just enjoy the cozy holiday vibe. But what happened that week still haunts me. It was my second night alone. Around 6:30 p.m., it was already pitch black outside. A light snow covered my yard and driveway. I was making a simple dinner pasta and chicken with the TV on in the background to make the house feel less empty. As I sat down to eat, I heard something strange. Singing. I muted the TV, and then it was unmistakable. Someone was singing Jingle Bells right outside my house. I thought it might be some neighborhood kids goofing around, but the voice was deep, adult, and frankly, unsettling. I walked to the front door, and the closer I got, the louder the singing became. I looked through the peephole and saw him. Standing in the glow of my porch light was a man, probably in his mid. He was wearing just a thin coat, no hat, and he was staring down at my welcome mat. He didn't seem to notice me at first, just kept singing. When he finished the song, he immediately started over. But this time he looked up and made direct eye contact with me. I felt a chill run down my spine. I tried to act casual, maybe even polite. But after a few minutes of him just standing there, staring and singing, I closed the door. Even after I shut it, the singing continued. I tried to ignore it. I went back to my dinner, trying to pretend he wasn't there. After a while, the singing stopped. I looked out the window, and he had moved to the end of my driveway. He was just standing there, silent now, but still staring at my house. I opened the door a crack and yelled that he was on private property, and if he didn't leave, I'd call the police. He didn't even flinch. He just stood there. Eventually, I gave up and went upstairs. I locked my bedroom door and peeked out the window. He was gone. I felt a rush of relief, but it didn't last long. I heard it again? The singing. But this time, it was coming from my backyard. I crept to the back window and looked down. He was right below my bedroom, staring up at me. I screamed that I was calling the police. The moment I said it, he sprinted towards my back door and started kicking and banging on it violently, screaming this awful, deranged sound. I dialed 911 and hid in my closet, clutching a baseball bat. The operator told me to stay hidden and quiet. Then, suddenly, everything went silent. The banging stopped. The screaming stopped. I stayed in that closet, heart pounding, until the police arrived. They confirmed the back door was still locked. Outside, they found a single set of deep footprints in the snow, leading from my back door into the dark woods behind my property. The cops didn't follow them. They just told me to keep my doors locked. The man never came back, but the fear he left behind did. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened to me. When I was just 6 years old, I had my first terrifying encounter with a stranger. My parents took me to see the Dallas Mavericks game. While we were waiting in line for food, a tall man approached me and asked if I was lost. I was just a kid. I didn't know any better. I went with him for a moment before I realized he was trying to lead me away somewhere isolated. I got scared and ran back to my family. Later that night, as we were driving home, I saw him again. He was in a truck with other men, and they were following us. When we got home, he shined a flashlight into my bedroom window. My parents never really believed me. They thought it was my imagination. But a year later, on New Year's Eve, a note appeared on my window. It said, "This new year, you'll meet me again." I never forgot that fear. Years passed. I got married and had a son, Andrew. When he was 7, we drove into the mountains to cut down our own Christmas tree. The area was remote, covered in snow, and eerily quiet. Deep in the woods, I noticed a man standing about 20 feet away. He was wearing a thin jacket, and his bare hands were red from the cold. He just watched us, smiling in this really off-putting way. He asked if we were looking for a tree. Something about him felt wrong, desperate, almost predatory. We tried to keep our distance and started heading back to our truck, but he followed us. I held the axe I'd brought to cut the tree, ready to defend my family if I had to. As we got closer to the parking lot, my heart sank. The tires on the right side of our truck had been slashed. The police told us to stay in the vehicle and wait for them. While we were waiting, several other men appeared at the edge of the tree line. They started walking slowly towards us, saying they were there to help, but everything about them, their movements, their clothes seemed wrong. Just then, we heard police sirens echoing through the trees. The men scattered instantly, their footprints disappearing deep into the woods. We were incredibly lucky to get out of there safely that night. These experiences changed me. They taught me to trust my instincts, to always lock my doors, and to stay vigilant, especially around the holidays when you least expect it.